Hey you guys, so if you saw my last short that I uploaded where I gave the quick channel update about everything that's been going on and what to expect going forward for a little bit, you'll know that today's video is going to be a little bit different than the previous ones. I'm just going to have some audio recordings going this time to tell a story with a few nice pictures in the background of me and Jonah. But feel free to just listen in the background. We're just kind of doing this to save a little space on data storage on my computer until I get a solution for larger storage. But anyway, so in this video, I'm going to talk a little bit about what me and Jonah's relationship was like in the very beginning, like right when we met in the Facebook group, a little bit of the discussions we had there, and then what the beginning of our discussions in Facebook Messenger looked like, and even a little info about our first fight, if you would want to call it that. More like a temporary misunderstanding due to not the language barrier so much as cultural differences of how certain things are interpreted. But yeah, stick around. Hope you enjoy the story and stay tuned for more in the future. The next video is going to be Jonah's side of the story, and then we're going to get a little deeper into me and Jonah's backgrounds, and then probably the 9th video I'll be going really in-depth, like full out details about all the not all of the supernatural stuff that's happened in our relationship, but the really big, wild, supernatural story that pertains to how Jonah and I found each other and met in the first place. Because trust me, it's like a real-life sci-fi movie, but hope you enjoy. Hey, just real quick, wanted to add, if you're new to this channel, if you just found this video and you haven't been following us yet, I would suggest going back and watching the first 4 videos on my channel. They're in chronological order, and they'll help get you caught up and up to speed to where we are right now in this series. Every video I put out is in chronological order until I say otherwise in the future, but it's just easier to understand some of the things I'll be discussing if you've seen from the very beginning. Thanks. Alright, so once I found and joined the Christian INFJ group, I made my introduction post just saying who I was, and then my second post, if I remember correctly, was the one where I talked about dating from an INFJ perspective, dating and relationships. And I basically just shared how I had, been through the gambit for quite a number of years with all of that, and that I was just tired of continuously running into women that would play mind games with me, be manipulative, constantly feeling undervalued and not respected enough, feeling like I couldn't find anyone with a compatible worldview to mine. And at the end, I said that I was definitely tired of always being the one who loved and cared about and desired the other one more than they desired or loved or cared about me. And it didn't take long to start getting responses. I basically just asked how many other INFJs had similar experiences or felt that way in their own relationship experiences. And yeah, it didn't take long before I started getting quite a few responses on it. And when Jonah saw it, she responded with her own story. I mean, of course, not a full, long, in-depth history, but a good summation of her dating experience. And it sounded like she had a very similar experience to me throughout her younger years, and said that she felt like she was always the one who would find someone who she saw good potential in, and I guess she saw them in more of a positive light, or she was too trusting of them early on and kind of learned her lesson later, which I can't say hadn't happened to me either. But she said she felt like she was always the one who would find someone that seemed to be good potential, and her trying so hard to help them heal and overcome their weaknesses and their wounds, and eventually they'd break up and they would leave better than when they first met her, and she would be the one to bear the burden and the scars and all of that. And needless to say, that hit me pretty hard. And then Vanya, commented down below that with, I don't remember exactly what she said, but it was something similar that fit fairly closely to what Jonah and I had been talking about. Okay, so after that initial conversation in the comment section under my post, it wasn't long until I got a friend request from Vanya and from Jonah. So I'm just going to skip ahead to the beginning of me and Jonah's conversations in Facebook Messenger. I'm just going to summarize, for the most part, what we talked about. I do have screenshots or message logs from the beginning of our conversations, but I'm not sure yet whether I'm going to share any actual screenshots. I feel like it might be better to just give a brief summary of what those discussions were about. But essentially, just started off saying thanks for the friend request. We asked some questions about each other's current faith. We discussed when we got saved, and I was candid with her about my faith struggles at the moment, at that time. And really, it turned out that Jonah and I had got saved at almost the same age. We were raised in really similar denominations. Our parents split at almost the same age in me and her childhood. And she admitted that her faith had been tested many times too in strong negative ways. And we discussed a little bit about some very upsetting stuff that had just happened to me right before she and I met that had weakened my trust in God at the time. I was just trying to figure out how to process it all. The specifics of that I'll share probably in our 9th video. Right now I think that's what it's going to be, which will be the one that's very in-depth into the supernatural stuff that led me and Jonah together. So next, me and Jonah continued discussing faith matters for a while. Eventually we talked about what I was looking for in a woman, what kind of woman I believed God had promised to me. However, some of the details of that I kept vague, or we discussed in ways that couldn't give her an easy way to say, yeah, me too, just copying everything. You know, that was a concern some people warned me about, and I was not stupid. I was aware of the possibility, but I was giving her the benefit of the doubt to see if she proved honest and good and trustworthy to me. But anyway, so many of the traits I was looking for in a woman and that I believe God had promised me in his future wife pick for me were things that Jonah revealed about herself before I brought up any of those specifics. So as part of our conversations, I even revealed how I had bought this How to Be Good with Women course online out of desperation due to my frustration with the American dating scene. But honestly, it was just a big course on deception and manipulation and a lot of unloving things that I wanted no part of. And this right here was actually a very key point in me realizing that Jonah might actually be, quote unquote, the one sent and prepared for me by God all along. Because I had heard, at least at the time I believed it was God telling me that who he had for me would not play hard to get. She wouldn't play mind games with me. I wouldn't need any of that stuff from the pickup course to get her to like me or to keep her interested. It would all just happen naturally. And I can say 100% that is exactly what happened. I never looked at or touched that stuff afterward once me and her started talking. Actually, I still have it on my computer, but still haven't looked at it because I just kept it as reference material for me and Jonah to look at and go over later to have a deeper understanding of male manipulation tactics that they use on women and vice versa as well, as part of our study material for how to help couples in relationships better and how to help people avoid those kind of traps. But anyway, as you'll learn in closer detail in what should be our 9th video, during this time, I began to see that Jonah seemed to match everything 100% perfectly to what I had believed God had promised me in his pick for me a few years prior. Okay, so I'll mention real quick now about me and Jonah's first fight, if you want to call it that, and how we cleared it up. So it was really more just about her personal past wounds and insecurities being triggered by something I did during a messenger chat. We were flirting back and forth for a while, and I'll spare you the details, but essentially one thing I said ended with, "I really mean it," followed by a big laughing emoji. So she thought that my use of the laughing emoji was me laughing at her or making fun of her, because unbeknownst to me, one of her exes used to laugh at her and make fun of her a lot, and my innocent flirty comment triggered her insecurity and bad memories. So that was my introduction to Tampo, but I had no idea what it was. She didn't message me back for 3 days, and I was panicking. I was panicking that she was going to want nothing to do with me anymore at that point, and that I had accidentally ruined everything with her just a few weeks into us talking. Now, once she got back to me, we quickly cleared up the miscommunication, and we were back to normal in no time. However, we did discuss the Tampo or long silence thing, and I told her I couldn't handle that, and that she needed to tell me right away if I ever offended her by something I said, because it would only ever be an accident, that I would never intentionally do that to her, and she understood. So since then, we've only had a few more misunderstandings or brief fights, if you even want to call it that, but for the most part, we've just been able to discuss and work out some difficult conversations in a calm or a firm way, but nothing ever like yelling or insults or any mean words. Okay, so now I'm going to share about me and Jonah's first video chat, which was probably about a week and a half or 2 weeks into us talking regularly in Facebook Messenger. I was renting a house at the time, and no one was there with me, so we were free to talk or act however we wanted and stay up as late as we felt like talking, or until the data ran out. I think our first video chat lasted about an hour and a half. She was much less shy on camera that time than she seemed in Facebook Messenger, but the rest of our video chats, she's been prone to hiding parts of her face at points and a lot of shy giggling. That video chat and the few after it opened up a new level for me in getting to know her better, and was one of the things that helped accelerate the process of me determining if we were right for each other or meant to be. Alright, so in the next video, you'll be hearing from Jonah to get her side of the story. Please like, share, and subscribe, and comment below what you thought of this video. Stay tuned for Jonah's story in the next few weeks. Thanks for listening. God bless.